now. They're starting to eye up the competition on the other side of the wall as well. You can see they're just looking, but hey man, there's something about these extremely healthy builds. You know, no one really wants to fully commit a full mag inside. You have to start deciding for yourself. Are they in a world of trouble? Can I actually do it? And Bad Sniper says, instincts speak louder here. I want to step up. I want to take this fight right now.
He heard Fab's shield get cracked by Storm Surge, and he immediately looked that direction. Bad Sniper and Noah Riley coming out with a vengeance here in game number 3. Right around the corner, though, you got to watch out. Cammy and Seti is there, but back on board this fight where Malapuka is still alive by himself. Jason Basil, they're trying to attack right now, but Malapuka doing a good job trying. He's doing everything that he can. Pressure from so many angles. Is he going to be able to escape?
Let's see it go down. Jason Basil have an incredible win rate in these close game battles in the early zones, and look at that. All of a sudden now they add to it, padding the stat, making it look nice and solid. Clix and Duke thought about it. They say, no, no, OCE boys, you got it. I'm getting out of here. And that is so much respect because they are so far below the Surge as well. They could have easily stood there and fight. They need it more than anyone. And as to, oh my gosh, our game leaders, Seti and Cammy, are actually below the Surge. This is so bad for them.
They just need to be able to find a position front side of zone, but they think it's the less traveled, but there's so many teams in front of them. 3 directly on the right, 3 directly on the left. That's Noah Riley, that's Bad Sniper. He was shot by Cammy, box to box, he's knocking on the door. He wants to off inside of Storm. Nobody really having HP to kind of regenerate, and Cammy and Seti go down. Probably would have been the saving grace because he ran into Aqua and Reason, who immediately took him down. His threats is going to fall as well. Pablo gets taken down to Brazil's Quitos. Alex going ahead and taking down TSM Reed. So much action going down around the lobby as Bugha and Mero trying to find that sweet spot, because you know as well as I do, as long as they make it to end zone, those eliminations will naturally present itself.
This is a team that has struggled in the early instances of the chapter this season, but they have managed to find their way into such a great position. But now, let's jump on over to some of the GOATs. Vino and Queasy, 2 Elims already poising themselves up for an excellent game here. Near max material, so they have to be coming just off of a fresh refresh right there. Quite literally bounce them back in the game. And man, you don't see this very often where it's your drop spot where you start off and the zone just lands directly on top of you. So they are being served up.
Yep. And right now, for an end zone like this, when it is on your drop spot, you already know how to traverse through every piece of terrain that is around, as k1to's still trying to do wonders. Not a lot of HP on PH Sin, so these guys down on damage in terms of Storm Surge have to figure out what they're going to do, because if they wait too much longer, they will be down. They will be out.
Well, here it is. Luckily for them, the threshold is met, and they do not have to fight, but they know what's in front of them now. They have a huge monumental task to step up here. You can see there, that's a wall that cannot be built there. Here it is. So it's all or nothing now, right? We know the Brazilian region to be one of the most aggressive. PH Sin is literally tied for third for the most FNCS champions individually in his region and globally. So that's a team that has everything to play for right now. But jumping over to Zagu and Marine, they're still alive right now. Some of Japan's best are here.
Trippin and Thomas HD, one of EU's best as well. And honestly, one of the fan favorites to take it off. 296 above the damage threshold. Joe and ZAndy right in front of him. Piece control is going to be important towards this end game, because if you go into the wrong box at the wrong time, they're going to take you out, and they're just trying to gather that information. They know they don't have far to go as the shot's going to be fired and landed onto Hen, who's dropped down to about 50 HP. And with that, you see other teams taking notice, and they're also putting that pressure on.
Trippin has full trust in his teammates, but their Elim gets sniped up right there. It's Zagu and Marine who are just coming out and literally reaping the benefits, taking all the spoils. Edgy and Acorn have high ground right now. What in the world? An excellent game. 1 second place finish, leading into game 3 in a such dominant position right now.
Yeah, and I was one of those people last season saying Edgy can do it on NAEs, try to be the 2 region champion. What would you call that here? Would he be the 7 region champion, 8 region champion if he wins this?
I mean, at this point, he's looking to break that second place curse too. He wants to make sure he gets one for Queasy, and Vino caught lacking. Don't forget, they were the most stacked duo in this lobby. This is their home position, the drop spot of Shiny Sound, and now all of that luck and hard work, preparation out the window.
Yeah, it was 2 different teams, one from Asia, one from EU. They actually got an elimination each on the team, as Scented and Cold trying to get to that front side of zone. They have that victory royale in the last game, 32 above the damage threshold. Luckily for them, not too many players have to go down before they go ahead and have to not worry about it. Is Aqua, Reason, not too much to worry about in terms of Storm Surge, but they have to find that sweet spot in zone. They're gonna use the launch pad to get there.
When you see Reason and Aqua looking up, you know there's only one thing in front of them. How can we take this high ground? Trippin, though, has a problem in front of him. He gets punished, he backs up. Great defensive maneuvers right now. Okay, and Thomas takes the lead. He says, hey, you go ahead, pause down, heal. I'll continue to tarp out. We have the zone right here. See Andy and Joe, even with a messed up finger, Joe is not gonna allow him to stop playing for the big positions right now, and he's got this high ground. It doesn't even look like it's been affecting him at all.
Yeah.
Look at this, 3 Elans.
Bogo's low he had all the mats to hold on to that high ground with 7 moving zone, even if it's contested. Reason and Aqua trying to fight for it, but they're gonna get stuffed. They're gonna get shut down for now, and you can see the pressure from Joe and ZAndy. They're looking towards the backside of zone, and they're putting
Another
shots on
launch pad.
players who are suffering the Storm Surge.
Oh, he goes for the low pad. Aqua wants to get down to the low ground here. No reason to play for the builds. He doesn't have enough to make it. Is Reason behind him is the real question. Meanwhile, another end game for k1to's and PH Sin. They have 4 Elans representing for Brazil right now, and they are almost inching their way to the top 10 right now, but Cold and Scented are right in front of them. This is where they do the most work. This is where they play best.
Yeah, they're just recycling a lot of those builds towards the low ground. Trippin trying to take that cheeky shot to the backside of zone. Elevation up, Thomas HD probably leading the charge, making sure that these guys are on the same page through and through. Booga backside of zone, 2 men miss. He's just trying to go ahead and stagger himself out, and he found an elimination onto Jew. More HP for him, and look at the resources he found.
And it's huge right now. He's managing to fight his way through. He finds another one there in the zone. A huge tag is going to keep him alive right now. And look at him start to sprint here. But no, he's hunted down and taken out back by Thomas HD. And all of a sudden now Thomas has all the extra refreshes here, but he's starting to run out. Is he going to go for low ground, or is he going to continue to hold out here? Reason has a decision to make as well. Off to the side he goes. This player's in front. Cold is down. We saw that exchange. It's a big one.
Yep, he's just trying to stay alive. Reason's doing a good job staying ahead of zone. And now he just has to mend stuff to find a way to stabilize this Thomas HG. He's trying to stagger himself towards the backside of zone, running out of ticks onto that Mendmith. A huge shot's gonna be fired. Thomas HD is trying to stay alive, but he goes down. Zagu from Asia strikes again.
It's just not enough. Zagu says, I am here to play, and puts some Graham, and again, Zagu's now by himself. Chrome Splash comes out, he finds his teammate. Does he get the save? Now this is what you want to see! A big save here in the ultimate low could change the entire story.
This could be huge for Asia, this could be huge for Zagu and Miriam, but Joe and Cianni, they have the high ground.
Oh no.
He wasn't able to get the revive off. This is gonna be huge. He's the only solo left in the world of duos.
Oh no, but he knows that's enemy build. He goes up.
Joe, everyone, make some noise for our Game 3 winners. So I swear, I was watching the game and I saw Acorn and Edgy had height. I turned around, looked back, and then you guys had it. How were you able to take it?
Sky Limit.
It was absolutely incredible. Not only did you get the VR, is aggression a big part of your play style?
Yeah, we want height, just spraying down, getting kills.
So from now on, are you guys going to be going for height every game, or is it mostly circumstantial?
We'll see.
Yeah, and how are you feeling about the remaining 3 games today?
Feeling good after that game now.
As you should be feeling good. Everyone, one more time, make some noise for these 2 right here.
Andy, Victory Royale in game number 3 of the FNCS Invitational. A huge way to show up, and not only the Victory Royale, but accompanied by 9 eliminations. Tokata, that's what you want to see on this stage.
It's what you love to see, right, Zeke? Those big VRs that boost you up in that leaderboard. I mean, we saw Queasy and Vino dominating the high ground in the first 2 games initially, but Joe and Ziandi now showing how it's done, not only securing the VR, but also with a good amount of Elix.
And you know what's more impressive, right? This is a very, very north zone. These guys land all the way down to the south, down in Sanap Station, just before the zone started closing. It was 5th zone, I believe it was. They had 3 eliminations. They sorted out their Storm Surge early on. They were playing one up front side, one up back side. No one was getting up there.
I love how they've adapted. They were actually originally going to be contested by Baka and On1 in the Synapse Station, but now having it uncontested, they have to figure out how to get that damage, you know, before the late game and not have to worry too much about those rotations, but they've done it, and it's showing.
Looks so good here, especially to finally be able to kind of get these players finally in that place where they can say, look, okay, Game 1, regardless of what has happened in previous 2 games, we're all ready to go, and we're ready to put numbers on the leaderboard. Let's take a look at said leaderboard and see how things are shaking out. Remember, we have another 3 games left today. We'll be back tomorrow for the last 6. Queasy and Vino now tied with Meram and Zagu. And I just gotta say, the international teams here, Japan, Brazil, y'all are showing up
huge.
This is what you love to see from an international event. Queasy and Vino were fan favorites coming in from EU, but now seeing Miriam and Zagu tied for that first place spot. Remember, Queasy and Vino, they got knocked out in 6.
First 3 games. First game I did dumb mistake, and yeah, we need to fix it.
Gotcha. And I think when it comes down to this competition as well, playing against the rest of the world, there is a pressure, but there are still 9 games to go.
9 games to go. That sounds like fun.
That sounds like fun indeed. Thanks very much. Massive shout out to Head and Vortex!
Just kidding, Adam. Surprise for you here. It's actually me, Vivid, on the stage. Shout out to the players. Game number 3 is done. Into the halftime we go. Some of the players will have an opportunity to make some changes, just like Bugha and Miro have. As you can see here, some of those early games, the Storm Surge wasn't necessarily looking in their favor, so they're actually going to go ahead and make sure to prioritize some of these tags before they're even fully loaded up. Miro right here has a pistol, and he's still making sure to find those opportunities in that early game. Now, of course, this is something that we love to see out of Bugha and Miro. This is something that they usually do. Move just to the north of them over here at this area, set up on this hill, and find plenty of tags throughout this early game to make sure that they are set on Storm Surge. And they actually sit up here for so long that Hen and Vortex are not even expecting them to still be up there. And they get this nice sneaky beam in here to make sure that their Storm Surge is looking good. And then listen, this is the adjustments I was talking about. Look at this. Bugha and Miro sitting all the way back in the storm, knowing that Malabuka and Merstash have been making this late rotate with the balloons as well, to make sure that they get some Storm Surge tags on them as they fly through the air. He does get the knock, ultimately doesn't find the elimination, but the adjustments are being made, and that's what we love to see. Now let's check out what Zeke has for us.
Thank you so much, Vivid, for that breakdown. As we come back to the desk, we have a very special guest joining us here on the analyst desk. It's none other than Cypher PK. You guys can give it up. I mean, we all know Cypher is pretty incredible at everything he does. I mean, you can hear the fans absolutely losing their minds. Cypher, how's it going, man? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. How are we feeling so far about these games? The first 3 underway, done. We have 3 left. What are your thoughts?
It's been exciting, man. We've seen some crazy changes, right? I mean, we went into it kind of having expectations. We thought, we thought these teams were going to do well. We saw the Queasy and Vino, of course, still doing very, very well. But some of the smaller regions, some of the maybe lesser-known players have turned up today. It's been great to see. We've seen changes in strategy, of course, as well. Some crazy zones that have really put these teams to the test of time.
It's what you love to see, though, right? In an international competition like this, teams from all over the globe popping off, right? I mean, the leaderboard right now, I saw some predictions coming into this tournament, and they did not look like the leaderboard is reflecting currently.
Yeah, that's right. We are back here on the analyst. Sorry about that, Cypher. I forgot to turn on your mic. That was on me.
It's all good. It's all good.
Welcome. How are you feeling now that everyone can hear you?
I'm feeling great. First Fortnite event since World Cup, and you guys blew it out of the water.
That's awesome. What are you thinking about the competition so far? How are you enjoying the the games.
Well, it's great to see some of these players like in a LAN environment, and because there has been one in such a long time, a lot of these players, this is their first ever in-person event. So it's a completely different kind of shock when you're playing in front of a crowd and you hear the cheering and roaring. So some of them are veterans, some of them have LAN experience, and that is going to benefit them, but then the rest are kind of here for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. Is there like a duo you feel like you're following? You're like, yo, I'm vibing with this duo, and then maybe one that you're like, yo, these are the ones I think are gonna win.
Well, the duo from Japan, I'm glad to see like a smaller region pop off on like an international level, so I'm kind of rooting for them.
That's right, dude. Zago and Maron, they are absolutely, like, it's weird too. They're just running around, and it's like wherever we look, their action, they're just there. Like, they're just like, hey, there's action over there. I want to be there finding eliminations. Who are you hoping to see change things up as we kind of move into the later half of the day?
Well, there's a lot of off-spawn fights happening right now. You got a little bit in Joneses, a little bit in Tilted Towers, and whoever's just on the bad end of that, I want to see some adjustments from them and see if they can like put aside their ego and just make the right play, maybe land somewhere else or change it up. I mean, there's some spots on the map that might still be uncontested, but you know, you're looking for that scrap loot and trying to make it to end game. You might not want to make that change in the middle of the tournament, but it could be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, you are pretty much known as like one of the guys that can adapt to anything, right? Think back all the days of like, I'm going to build a tower here and I'm going to throw a million traps in here and, oh, it's a convenient launch pad. Do you maybe have advice for some of these players? Maybe things you would hope they kind of like consider as we now have that time to kind of collect ourselves?
Okay, so my biggest advice, I mean, as someone who's played some of the pro-ams and in-person events, my biggest regret sometimes is just not going for it. There's like a little bit of like panic. Just get into that mindset, like you're playing at home. Like, if you can get into that mindset, play very comfortably, like you'll make plays and people will be shocked by it. They won't expect you to make those plays.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have like a favorite moment that has happened so far? Like anything that stands out like, yo, that moment was wild.
I mean, I've seen some crazy 1v2s, which is, I mean, just think about this lobby right here.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the accolades that these duos have and the amount of FNCS championships. It's insane. I would not want to be playing against these guys. So you already, and I think we're going to see a little bit more going on. That's super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, watching a lot of these 1v2s happen, kind of like to what you're saying, it doesn't just happen, right? Like it's kind of like walking up to professionals of your equal caliber and just be like, I'll just 1v2 you guys in front of a live audience, kind of casually, no big deal.
Look, it's a feeling that's unique though, especially in an in-person event like this. You hear the crowd cheer when you get that clutch, and it's exciting. But I'm curious, Cypher, we've seen multiple duos from Brazil right now in the top 5, in the top 10, a duo from Asia tied for first place. We've seen a lot, but I want to know, are you what do you want to see that has not happened yet? Let me know if there's something that you're looking forward to happening.
Well, I guess one thing that I did want to see was some of these smaller regions pop off, and we're seeing that with Brazil and Japan. And I think like some of the less conventional playstyles and duos that people don't know about showing up on the main stage and doing really well, like that kind of shakes up the scene, and that's what I wanted to see. And we're seeing it live, and then you're also feeling the crowd react, and they're rooting for some of the underdogs as well, which is great to see. So it's been a blast.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, seeing all these players here together with each other as well, getting to interact, how important do you think that is on a player level? How important do you think it is to, like, you know, have some friends, make some communities, and enjoy it?
I mean, it's so important on a player level, but even just from a competitive standpoint, like this is esports, like competing in front of an audience and you know, having that pressure on you and still performing and still doing well. That is a true testament to what kind of player you are, in my opinion. If you win online tournaments, that's great, but this is the true test of skill.
Yeah. Cypher BK, thank you so much for your insight, brother. It's great to have you here in person. Fans, if you see him, make sure you say what's up to Cypher. He's one of the coolest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. The players are currently on a little bit of a break as they collect themselves, so why don't we go hang out with the casters, Monster D-Face and Jacob PR.
Thank you so much, Zeke, there for, of course, introducing us. Now, listen, all that hype about what your favorite moments, I want to talk about what I've loved the most so far. Let's talk about how this script has been flipped way upside down. Not a single person expected, I think, what we've seen today. And for me, the Brazilian region, Ed in the 2v1 situation there on the outside of zone. Wait for him to clutch up. And then PHC and Iquitos coming through, putting up incredible performances so far.
what a way for them to represent for the entire Brazil region.
I like how you're going for a region that isn't necessarily the most talked about. No EU, no NA at all, neither one of East or West, and I'm going to follow suit. I'm going over to that Asia region. I want to visit Japan one day, and I hopefully get to meet Zagu and Miram. These guys are lighting up the leaderboard. They are putting on a show, and it's a show that I don't think anybody expected to see, and they put every single competitor on lobby on notice. We are here. We're here to contend. We didn't fly that long just to come home, which is $1,000, 50th place, just for a top 10. They want first.
And not to mention, they are coming off the heels of being the champions as to why we began rooting for them from the beginning, because we have never seen such a gathering like this before. Now,
only their second. This is their second finals appearance. That one championship, that was their first time playing together. They have 100% win rate.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And you guys get to see some of those highlights right there as well. Just coming through, performing, playing these end games, and doing it in a way that not a single person on the internet that I follow expected. I can tell you that.
No, and that's exactly what I want to keep seeing, though. And I want to see also the TSM duo, Re and Epic. Well, I need to see them really step it up to the plate and to begin to knock it out of the park. But am I necessarily surprised? Not necessarily, because they do have slow starts, but they have great finishes.
Well, that's right. That's a quick temperature check from us. Let's keep this thing going. Thank you guys so much. Fantastic insight just all the way around. As you can see, we've got a lot of empty chairs here. Our players, after the first 3 games, have a moment here to collect themselves, go back to the player lounge, talk amongst themselves, potential coaches there, whatever they need to do to kind of recollect and on the day. Now, earlier, we and his duo and kind of hear what was going on. Well, guess what? We've collected a few of those for you guys you might have missed during the game. So check this out.
Nice!
Jovic.
You see clicks at them?
Yeah, they're here.
I see. They're hitting the thing.
They slid. They're
Get
running
the
away. I'm
spike
gonna go towards them and get some search, okay?
I'm
Go
like,
to the
no way,
go to the pond and farm.
Come down. That's too bad. And I'm trying to remote. 1v1v, things well. One drop.
Let's go up. More HP.
Good.
No!
Lucky.
Nice
Run.
try.
Run.
Wait, running in. Getting surge. 48.
Break.
5, 150, 250. What about you? Say it again. Sorry. That's
525.
Okay, awesome.
Come. I have 12 seconds. Come. I have no meds.
Yeah, I have like 2 builds.
Together, come. 3, 2, 1, go. Ready? Let's.
We needed that. Let's go.
If you're looking to get into competitive gaming in any space, comms are vital. Understanding, keeping comms clear, even if you're panicking, don't freak out, don't yell. Just say, hey, this is what I got going, as I throw my pen apparently. I was way too excited, I threw my pen. Guys, I wanted to kind of take a moment here as our players are recollecting themselves. We see a few sort of make their way back on the stage as we prepare for the next set of games. What are maybe a few duos you guys feel like might be under the radar? I love that our casters kind of touched on Zagu and Miram, right? We've been hyping this duo up from Japan. And for me, I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is just like a team from Japan. If there was more Japan representation at Invitational, I'd be even more concerned.
Look, I don't even know if I like saying under the radar, right? Because this duo, champions of Japan, now tied for first place in one of the first international events we've had in years, right? The first we've had in years. The way they're performing, coming from the Rave Cave, there's another 2 duos surrounding them, so they don't necessarily have a free loot path that's on con. They have to be cautious, they have to be careful, but they've done that every single game and got into the late game, got in their eliminations. They are playing so well.
Yeah, you know what, Vivid earlier on the show, he said he wasn't usually impressed by a duo when he's VOD reviewing. Vivid, I hope you are impressed by these, because oh boy, are they putting on an impressive show right now. These guys, when I first looked at them, right, I was looking at them landing at the north side of Sleepy Sound.
Yeah.
Vino and Queasy decided, you know what, we're going to take control of this area, and they ran away. They went to the Rave Cave. That's where they're currently dropping. And you know what, at that point, I thought, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this duo. Are they a little bit nervous? Are they a little bit scared going into this, running away from one of the biggest teams? It's not a bad idea, of course, because seemingly it's working out.
I mean, they are just going absolutely ham. And remember, this is like, in that last game, we saw Meram go down, right? And in that game specifically, Zago actually tried to go for the revive.
Yep.
In an alternate universe, there's a universe where Meram was revived, and they 100% go on to win that game. So we'll have to keep an eye on this duel. Is there another duel for you guys you feel might be under the radar, like truly under the radar?
Look, I don't want to say just one duo. I want to shout out both Zeke KBR and also Bachatin and Kitos. I mean, they've been playing so well, especially in this most recent game. They're getting to the late game, and not only that, they're getting in with a good amount of elims. If they keep up this consistency, I wouldn't be surprised if they maintain that spot in the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and the latter there you mentioned, Bachatin and Kitos, those guys are doing really, really good at getting that early aggression off spawn. They're getting their Storm Surge out of the way because, of course, they're landing at a central POI, that sort of red bridge just to the left of that sort of mid-map area. They're doing a really, really good job at getting the Surge. Of course, we had a few questions about that. Maybe there could be third parties coming in, of course, with there being such a central location, but they're answering all of the questions. And oh boy, are they fighting with some prowess. They're fighting with some aggression, and it's good to see. They're not nervous.
Yeah, Storm Surge, we saw it very prevalent in game one, right? A lot of these teams coming out and saying, this is a massive issue, and already within 2 games, we're seeing some of this being corrected. What might be a couple of the changes? Like, obviously, a lot of people kind of what we've hinted at is they're just getting aggressive, man. They're just saying, look, if you want to fight at my POI, let's do this. Let's go.
Look, speaking about a change, I want to see what Queasy and Vino do after this halftime, right? They've had 3 games. The first 2 went really well, and then this last one, they ended up getting eliminated a little early. I believe it was Queasy that was the last one standing. Vino got knocked down, and then he went for the revive and got taken out as well. So it might have just been, you know, a little mistake that happens. Mistakes always happen, but it's all about overcoming that, you know, leaving it behind you, adapting, and playing better in the upcoming matches. So I'm curious to see what they change. Yeah,
and of course they've had that break now, right? We don't usually have this in traditional tournaments. We don't usually have this halftime break in between 3 and or the first 3 games, the latter 3 games. So this is something that I'm excited to see. Who's made the most of this time? Who's been really looking at their gameplay? Who's been analyzing? How can we solve the problems that we've had? And it's going to be up to the teams that have used that time most effectively. I think they're going to be the ones that have come out on top.
And I hope some of them have even taken this time and just said, like, let's just calm our nerves down. Like, as incredible it is to have an audience just lose their mind when elimination goes out or a victory all happens, we just need to contain ourselves. Even if something goes wrong, we're eliminated off spawn, it's not the end of the world. Just calm the nerves. Right, these are 100 of the best duos that all 7 regions have, right? So if they lose an off-spawn fight, it doesn't mean they're a bad duo. Doesn't mean they're not capable of winning the competition. They just had one off-spawn bad fight, and they need to correct it.
Right, I mean, if you're gonna have a bad off-spawn fight, or even a bad match, the best time to have that bad match is right before the break, right? Because you get the time to stay calm, stay collected, refresh your mind, get a bit of water, get hydrated, get some food in you, and continue playing.
Of course, and things can change so quickly as well. We saw a very, very north zone in that previous game, all the way up to Shiny Sound, and it wasn't necessarily the zone that we would have expected a team that landed all the way on the south, Joe and Ziandi, to do well in. But it just shows things can change, and it's about the teams that are most adaptable to those changes that are going to be able to find the success. I'm impressed so far with all these high ground plays because a lot of these teams, they are high ground teams, particularly on some of the regions that we haven't talked about so much. Those guys, they know how to play height, so nobody's safe.
That's right, man. All these duos are back at it. Just look as we've kind of taken moments to just visit with each duo. You can tell the focus is there. A lot of them are ready to get back at it. What are you guys hoping to see changes for these next 3 games?
Look, we've seen a lot of victory royales come from the clouds, right? From up above. I want to see people down in the dirt, fighting back and showing what they're made of, right? Getting those elims on the teams up above and, you know, getting a VR from it.
You know who I think can do that? Cammy and Seti, right? We saw it in game number 1. They won on high ground, right? Which is very uncharacteristic for this duo. We're usually seeing them playing their materials, riding just on that edge of surge and just trying to keep their materials going throughout that end game with some refreshes, but they play very, very calmly, if you like, which is something that could be really, really useful for them. I was thinking, like, you know, they won game 1. Of all the teams that you want to win game 1, for the other players, you don't want it to be Cammy and Seti because they can play so consistently, and I'm expecting to see more of that from them. Hopefully this halftime break, let's give them some time just to chill. It's like, hang on a sec, we won game 1 on height. Like, what's this? This is so alien to us.
I think what's interesting too is I've seen a couple duos now. It's like, hey, you look over, they got like 5 elims, but they still don't have what it takes, right? They're out of ammo. They have no heals. They have no builds. Why is that? If we're capable of finding 5 eliminations on a stage like this at calibers like this, what are we lacking?
There's so many types of engagements that you can encounter during a match, right? It could be early game engagements that staggered out and lasted a long time. We have Merstash and Malibuca going against Tayson and Chapix. I mean, those two duos alone are literally titans of their own region, and having them go head-to-head, those engagements can last a little while, and if it takes a long time to finish an engagement, you lose a lot of materials, you lose resources, you lose shields, and even if you end up coming out on top from that engagement, you've already used everything, and it's difficult to come back from that.
And of course, I mean, look at the lobby, right? Let's just take a look at it, because everyone in this lobby is incredible. They're not going up against the likes of me and you. They're going up against some solid players, and they're proving.
Yeah, I'm a walking 50 shield refresh. Don't even worry about me.
I can vouch.
We do have Adam and Kelly standing by. Friends, over to you.
Thank you so much, Desk, and thank you guys for hanging out with us. We wanted to make sure that our players had a break between games 3 and 4, get some food, get some drinks, and now they are ready to go.
All right, we have got ourselves a game 4 imminently, but we need the entire world right now to hear us, North Carolina. Let us hear you make some noise! Let them hear you in Japan, in Greenham, let them hear you in Mars! We are here! It is
We are ready, everyone. Let's go to game number 4.
Now that's what we like to see. Let's go ahead and just pick things up and get right to it. Game 4 is underway. The players are already landed off the battle bus. If you were walking around, take a seat because it's time to get into the action.
And it's already looking like Kanata trying to get busy. Taking down Vortexers for the first elimination of the game. Ascented trying to put shots on into the distance. It does look like Cole got a knock onto Pars. The angles and the pressure is already coming out. These guys have been battling all weekend long for that contested drop spot in the middle islands. And with Pars dropping, Raze has the world of pressure on his shoulder in this game.
And it's so crazy because we didn't think they were going to be able to do it.
Nope.
Get past this, what feels like crazy hurdle. Being contested on an in-person event should honestly cross you out of the equation here, but not for these competitors. They don't let that little inconvenience stop them. If anything, they weaponize it. They've turned it into surge tag. They've turned it into great standings. Even Zagu and Marine here from Team Alba representing for their entire region at the Rave Cave.
Yep, this is huge. You got Thomas, HD, and Tripper, Commandment and Avery all landing towards the Rave Cave. Luckily enough, this is one of the biggest POIs with a ton of loot to go around. And you're kind of seeing not too many early game fights going down over there as Kitos and PH Zin trying to have that early game that they want, because for them, they've been doing so consistent lately out of this drop spot. Not too much contesting going by, and for their Storm Surge, they have so many players around them so they can gather it.
Now what's crazy is that the story of Brazil is W key, but not for them. They've made all their points through placement. They actually have some of the lowest eliminations overall. When you stand them against the others inside the top 5, they're actually at the lower spectrum. But Vico and Marine here starting to get into some dangerous territory. You can see the reality tree is no free position by any means. You have Retake and crew up above, Z-Andy and Joe, who have just taken home a huge moment and win for themselves, are now poised up at the Synapse Station just south of Bugamiro.
Yeah, and right now, even though they have uncontested drop, it almost makes me wonder with the zone kind of being towards the northeast portion. I was going to say exactly this, what Grim Gable looks like for Larson and Smite, who actually did win that off-spawn exchange last game against Buzz and Looter, trying to have that repeat success here in this game. But right now, they're just kind of taking their time. They're high up on the mountain, so they got to be careful for those third-party attempts to come through.
Now, Muzz and Looter are playing potentially spoiler here outside the Grim Gables, because we have this Larson and Smite duo who have fought their way on up to 7th. And again, Elims are the name of the game for Larson and Smite, but this is where they have built their reputation, fighting in the early game, managing to get so much experience being contested season after season. It started way back north where Vino and Queasy are, but hold up, Larson finds one, the trade is good, and Smite gets the other, and down goes OCE, Muzz, and Looter.
That was a fantastic play by Larson, reading him like a book. He turned the page and got an elimination as Mr. Savage strikes again. Onward goes down. Baka has to go ahead and figure out what to do next as iDrop's trying to get those angles. Right now, they're just trying to alleviate the pressure, but the Brazilian duo that you're talking about, King and Mr. Savage, they're looming in the distance, waiting for that perfect moment to strike.
And that's right. This is such a huge opportunity. Now remember, they land just west of the Chrome Jam Junction. For them to come in, sweep things up, could change the story around. There it is. They open up with a couple tags, but iDrop gets to the loot first. He's got the refresh. He's got a little more material, and you have to assume King and Ed are just a little bit more positioned and ready for this, but a good defense, a good bluff is all you need here to back them off, and it is going to be enough. King and Ed don't get to show us what they're made of in a clean 2v2.
Another team is kind of floating in towards Chrome Jam. That is the Asian powerhouse. But over here, towards the islands, towards Mighty Monument, you have the FNCS, NA West champions, trying to have that repeat performance in game number 1. That's Basil, that's Chase, that are under pressure. High ground is seemingly right now cemented to the PSG TNA duo.
Now Yuumi is very solid. Cool's gonna find Jason the feed there. It's up to Basil by himself. Basil has no teammate to work with here, and he is trapped inside this stone build here. This is a very tough tower to play out of. Awkward positions to build, and the terrain gets extremely weird. He does drop a few layers, but there's only 2 exits, and one of them's cut off by tons of enemy territory. So look at this. He goes out the back with the windows there, and that is that game knowledge kicking in there. Yuumi and Glor looking so solid. This is what they do on a day-to-day basis, isn't it, Jacob?
Yep, this is exactly what they came to do here with that stunning performance last season. Even though it was a 2-day competition, they ran away with it on day 1, and when push came to shove, they held on to it in day 2 to take home that crown. But you can kind of see the Brazilian duo slowing things down just a little bit. They thought it was going to be an easy third party on Mr. Savage and Baka and On1, but it wasn't as easy as we thought.
Definitely, and of course, plenty of highlights as well. Let's get caught up with how this unplayed and unfolded. So On1 just gets snuck up on there. Saw all the Chrome builds. He says, no, I'm not going through that. We're going to go and take the easy path here.
But that's exactly what iDrop was kind of talking about. He said, I've been dropping here for 12 months.
Right.
I'm ready to fight. I'm not splitting loot. I came to take what's mine. And he does it game after game after game. If they can keep up this type of consistency, mix that with an opportunity to take the end game, this is a recipe for a duo that can catch fire at any moment. Because you got to remember, one of the last in-person events that we had, not the last one, but one of the last, Mr. Savage took it out on top. You had Bizzle in second, and the placement's down far after.
That's right, but look at this. Seti and Cammy going to the old trusty right on top of this air blimp. This is what you expect. This is a huge double-edged sword here where you expose yourself, but you just open up the entire terrain before you. As we jump on over to Kitos and PH Zin here, looking absolutely phenomenal. They have more eliminations against players inside the top 10 than any other duo, just showing us exactly what they are capable and made of.
This is literally the story of them on their region as well. They consistently take out teams at the top, and that is perfect preparation for a lobby like this, because you got to think the Brazil region, they're fighters. They love to fight, and right now they're playing against the best, and it's working out.
Let's talk a little bit about this zone for a second here. For the first time now, we see a little northern pull off to the east, so we get another kind of shake-up. So the last time we went to Shiny, it didn't quite work out for Vino and Queasy, but what we did see was that they were so just suited for a big game. And now that we know that, it should be the same story. But let's get on over to Lustrous Lagoon here. It's crazy to me how Runa and Peppo have demanded so much respect from this entire regional competition that no one has decided to contest them here at the Lagoon. We've known in seasons past, this is a hot spot.
Yeah, and I love how they're playing. They know exactly what happens to any team in Lustrous Lagoon if they have it uncontested. You take too long to loot, these other team on the outskirts will begin to climb up onto that mountain and put the shots down. They met Chimp and Scram there. They don't want to let anything go easy in a lobby like this, but Chimp, You can kind of see him crouching down, biding his time, trying to minimize the audio that he does give out, reuniting with Scram, trying to get that elevation in, but no opportunity is going to be given up by Runa and Peppo.
Love the focus that we're seeing from Chimp right now as he is starting to line up Runa and Peppo here. Not afraid of taking a fight, but also playing extremely smart. He does have the slight disadvantage, but Runa swings the thing around there. He says, hold up. Might just go up for high ground. Meanwhile, Queasy looking for tags here in the distance. So there is all types of battles starting to shape up and potentially heat out right now. And remember, this is all in loom of potential Storm Surge, right?
Scram, Chip, still in that high ground fight. The thing is, they're in zone. Every team that landed south is going to come here on this side. This is going to be the most congested side of the map, Monster. They have to be careful. They got to start looking to end this fight quick, whether it's taking the actual fight or just trying to disengage.
Zagu doesn't stop, though. He finds Falconer in the feed there while this fight is raging on here. Chimp still looking around, just saying, hey, Scram, I trust you. Do your thing. Take that toe-to-toe. Keep them busy. Meanwhile, confidence to trust in Scram to play by himself here.
Zagu, the team from Asia. You see Hellfire and Falconer in the distance. The shot's just coming in.
Gosh.
You can see how he went down. He had no choice but to go forward. Storm was going to eat him alive. And I think that's still Queasy and Vino on top of the blimp, lending that helping hand inadvertently.
And then they just W key straight across as well. They're like, you're not going to get that save whether you want to or not. We're here to fight, and we're going to make sure we solidify the elim. That will effectively allow them to take first place, breaking the tie. Now, Vino and Queasy, of course, are just behind them, and this is going to become a matter of who can survive the longest and play the best, of course. So this is still a moment, and big decision to make. Chrome Splash, the launch pad. It looks like they drop him.
What are you choosing? I like the Chrome Splashes personally.
I'm trusting in their gut. It doesn't matter what I want. They got the launch pad high.
You can do the high pad. You can and try to take high ground if you're able to hold on it towards the end game. And this is going to be the first instance of Storm Surge in game number 4 that we're going to see. All day long, we've seen teams not necessarily manage it the best, and that being the sole focus of why they get down. But game number 3, Victory Royale winners, Joe and Ziandi, 58 below the damage threshold and continuously falling.
Now, they did win a game, but that's not enough to stay in. You have to continue to perform, and maybe, just maybe, that long-awaited break has allowed other teams to figure it out. Hit that drawing board. They're slowly slipping down now. 91 below here, but the longer they wait, the more likely enemies are to set up. So they have to get going. Off to the air vent they go. Can they get there in time? He misses it just slightly, but Joe fights back. And he doesn't miss. How quick was the setup there? Nicely done. That little bit of defense is something, sometimes all you need to go in and buy you some time.
But they're still 46 below the damage threshold. They have a lot more room to cover as well, but luckily for them, they have the Chili Chug Splashes. They have the Mighty Monument.
Oh,
as
no!
Nico has an elimination onto Miriam. Can he be able to clean that one up and get the spoils after that falls all together? Moraine and Vico really trying to show up this game, and you talked about it during that break about how stacked that top of the leaderboard actually is.
And it looks like they were waiting around just a little too long. They try to bait out the vault, and instead they get punished. And now, Zagu is by himself. The shield bubble is going to buy him some time, but it's only a matter of time. If he stays there, yes, they're just going to 2v1 him. He goes up for high ground, and he's trying to get on out of here. Vico and Moraine decide better. They say, all right, I'm okay with that. With Swag and Pablo here, let's just get to the new Storm. Let's get safe, and that's what they do first. But it is not looking good for our first place team now.
Yeah, so many teams just barely on the threshold, either above or below, as Runa and Peppo trying to keep things going. They are 244 below the damage threshold, going up against Peak and Anas, who've also had their own struggles when it comes to Storm Surge. This could be a good fight for both of them. A huge shot coming out of Peppo. Peak and Anas, they have their backs up against the wall, trying to get out alive, but the backfire comes through. Vidil gets an elimination as well. Everybody in this fight is under siege. Pink, with his back up against the wall, takes them both down.
And EU takes down Asia in a 2v2 head-to-head with no interference in the distance. Chapix cleans things up onto Z, Andy, and Joe are game 3 winners. And now Chapix and Tayson continue to play upset. Let's just take a look at the highlight. How did it all go down? He walks up. Man, this is why Chapfix is so good. This is what he did in the World Cup. This is what he's doing here now, and ooh, you can see the pain. That was a tough one.
Yeah, that's definitely tough here, but luckily for them, they did get that victory royale. They're at the top side of the leaderboard. One bad game does not decide your future, as Queasy and Vino under siege yet again. Just a sliver of HP. Storm Surge doing its wonders, but they have 10 splashes. But Vino has to try to get him out. That means Queasy has to alleviate some of the pressure with the builds. But shots coming in from the distance. Luckily for them, it's another team that is struggling to surge, so they're not the sole focus of the lobby just yet.
Now, this is insane. First place has already lost a teammate. Now, Vino and Queasy, who are in second, just points behind, are so hurt here, and the surge is continuing. They will have to take this fight. That's not an easy duo, and that one isn't either. This is looking very, very tough now for Queasy and Vino.
As Merrim gets knocked down again to Edgy. They're just going through it this game. We talk about consistency being the key. 44 below the damage threshold. Commandment and Avery become the targets to Queasy and Vino, but how long can they last? Just only a few ticks away. The short pad coming through. They get the damage, but is it going to be enough to go above the damage threshold? Yo, it is not, but it is finally at the tail end. Barely going to be enough. Launch pad going out. They're going to live, Monster, to fight another day.
How did Queasy survive that with 1 HP, and now he gets to fight back just a little bit here? Can he find anything? Was there something left behind? They should know better. This is their landing spot. This is their home territory, and they're just gonna go ahead and look for scraps now. And just like that, they knew what they left behind, and they are gonna be back in this game in no time.
Some of the biggest brains in Fortnite to kind of remember something like that. That is outside of the box thinking, but the Storm Surge has not left them just yet. 49 still below the damage threshold. Commandment and Avery, I don't know how they made it out alive either, but they're still doing a good job this time around. 187 above the damage threshold. Let's see what they can do when it's not going to be a worry.
Let's not forget, these are our previous NA East champions, but hold up, Vino says we need some Elins, but no, he gets taken out, and Queasy, it's up to him, and he falls too. And all of a sudden, Vino and Queasy are down, and Zagu is there to play in the mess here. He is putting his own 2 thoughts into the battle. He has not given up, and this is an opportunity now. Look at Zagu's HP. He is so hurt there off to the side, and now he turns and burns. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you, Avery. I'm gonna leave it to you, Commandment. You guys can have it, but it's Savage and iDrop who get all the loot.
Yeah, and that's huge for the loot for Savage and iDrop, because now they can kind of pick and choose. You see, he still has some bandages there, so he's trying to look for something else to maybe trade it off. But with 2 launch pads, the zone right now is not going to be a worry at all, especially since Commandment and Avery are already making their rotation outward. But another team landed towards Cloudy Combos, Malabuka and Murstache.
So let's think about this, right? 3rd place is out. Joe and Zandy are out. That's going to allow things to get really competitive at the top. But now that we see Queasy and Vino crossed out as well, it is that much closer here. Let's take a look at these quick highlights here. How are they so far ahead of the Surge? Well, there you go. You ask and you receive. Jamper just gets clotheslined without any notice.
It almost looks like they were thinking the same thing. Let me knock on this door, take this piece away, but Jamper was just a little bit too slow to the punch. Trolls Rifty trying to fly high through the sky. Tripper and Thomas, it's like target practice for them as Macwood does go down to Hydro. There goes the leaderboard 5th through 9th. Look how stacked it is. Only 8 points separating those teams.
And remember, Joe and Andy are down and out. Zagu has jumped back into the game here.
Impressive.
46 damage above the Surge. All he has to do is out-survive 2 players, and you would think it would not be possible, but he has found his way back into this game here, and he is still getting that much more lucky. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of luck, and look at the heals come back to reward him here. He's gonna hold on and continue to earn. Seti and Cammy have an opportunity to go ahead and close this gap. They lost out on it at the last game, falling short. But as we know, they're slow, they're steady.
Yeah, for them, it's not just chasing after eliminations. They're not forcing any of these plays. Like you said, slow and steady wins the race. So for them, they let these opportunities naturally present itself while gathering all the information in the lobby. They know exactly what to do as long as they're not playing with their backs up against the wall. Clix and Duke, another highly skilled team, 353 above the damage threshold. They already have an elimination. For them, it's just making it to the end game itself.
And it's crazy to show the disparity, the point difference between Clix and Duke there, and first place, 47 points separate, 20th from first. It shows you that's about a 2-game spread. You have to play very, very well, but it also shows you one big win, and you're inside the top 10 undoubtedly. You are very much right back into this game if you can just get one.
Yeah, mindset and handling this pressure is going to be huge because it's easy. You know, 12 games, being in a stage like this, you go down early, it starts to sink in that doubt. It's easy to believe in that doubt, but right now, you guys are the best of the best on that stage. You need to snap yourselves out of it and really pick it back up because this is game 4 out of 12. You have every chance in the world to make a comeback.
Ju and Yusra have been contested on the drop to the hands of OCE, Alex and Bailey. We have seen what they have managed to do all day. They are an exceptional duo. And finally now, Yusri and Ju get to show us what they are made of. They are playing for high ground, but they're below the surge. They're gonna have to take a box fight. The wall's his, but not quick enough on the edit there. And instead, he backs off. What do you do in this situation? Do you look around or take a box fight is the question. And Ju says, hold that thought. Let me go ahead and get these tags real quick.
Don't worry, Monster. I got you. You ask a question, I'll definitely give you an answer in a moment. 48 above the damage threshold. They know their job is not done just yet, but they can at least slow things down, start to gather the information like a lot of these other teams are going to be needing. But them having the high ground, if they pull zone, they're going to be in the perfect position to terrorize the rest of the lobby. Oof.
Smite and
Nobody
Larson
gets it.
Smite and Larson still alive here. They came in at 7th place. 3 elims added on to where they left off. Now effectively has to jump them on up for a fight for top 3, potentially first as well. I have a question though. Is Zagu still alive? Is he somehow snaking his way around the game? We're gonna have to find out. Sensitive Cold, Austin, an end game. That consistency paying off right now, as we know, are just proving that they are so good at Fortnite, no matter what the setting is, online or in person.
And the team, after that first game, is finally finding their rhythm. 251 above the damage threshold. 3 eliminations so far. 3 chilling Chug splashes onto Merstache. So you got to imagine on the other side, probably having some rotation as well. But Scented and Cold right now trying to find a way to stabilize. 29 below the damage threshold. Luckily for them, though, that's not too much. That's one good shot, but the same thing happens to them. They're under pressure. 19 HP, trying to get the splashes off, but now Zone is taking them out. Cold goes down. It's all to Scented.
And it looks like Acorn and Edgy were just waiting for that wall to open up, and there it is. Acorn is the one who finds Cold, and Scented is now left to do it by himself, but he has been here before. That is where he feels most comfortable. Meanwhile, Pink and Anath, they have so much catching up to do. They have already picked up 5 elims. This is exactly the type of pacing they want to be on coming into an end game. But Cammy and Seti are here in the mid ground. P18 and Kitos are there as well. This is one of the most dangerous layers that we have seen, and it's players who are fighting to get that #1 spot.
Oh, it's Scented. He was able to take down Thor, but he needs that Siphon to come through, and it goes in just in the nick of time. Trying to stay alive. Chili Chug Splash to try to go ahead and gain the speed to get to the outside of zone. Somehow Anas is down. You got to thank Commandment Avery for that one. So now Pink is left as a solo. What can he do with only 3 builds to his name?
And they take high ground again in this game here. 4 elims now. Things are really starting to get interesting for NA East. Avery says, come down. Let's go to the low ground and wait for him to start taking the lead here. Now, usually we call Commandment the Mr. Clutch, and Commandment says, trust in me. Me at the top.
Yep, for one of the most insane do it here again in this game as Malapuka by himself ends up into the box, takes another player out, a huge Siphon, and that was Ed from Brazil who went down, but he's doing a good job.
And back to Pink here. Look at Pink's perspective. He's on that low with 7 elims. He has not stopped picking up. Malabuka continues to fight though. Ustri is gonna fall there, and a quick elim. Someone's behind him though. Now he turns around, and it's just enemy territory everywhere. Which way are you gonna go, son? That's the zone. Larson and Smite are still alive. This is where they do the most work, but no, it's not enough. They get wiped up and taken out.
Shot missed. Duke clicks, take advantage in the blink of an eye. Another end game. They're trying to move up to the top leaderboards as Thomas HD goes down. Trippin feeling the pressure as a solo here. Changing elevation. That was a huge play because look how many teams are stuck down low towards the low ground, but now he has to meet him down there as Commandment Avery begin to put on the pressure. Malabuka, 4 eliminations as a solo. 6 as a team. The damage continues, and he's putting on a show.
He doesn't stop. Down goes Rifty. 5 elims. Can he get another? No, it's not enough. Tripper fights back. He's got it in him. And now, look at this. Behind the walls, BL and Edgy from the Storm. BL is still in this. It's Seti who's representing on this low ground. Another huge, consistent game for Seti is everything here.
I think there's 5 duos left, and about maybe 3 of them are full duos right now, and Savage loses another one.
my
He's a
God.
solo. He's trying to take down the NA West team. He takes down Yuumi. Huge siphon coming through. Mr. Savage does it again and gets into the top 4.
You have to love the move in here.
Oh my
he
God.
finds another one. He does not stop. Seti might just be next. Savage is on fire. Let's see it. High ground is still NA East. 1v1v2. Commandment and Avery have everything working for them as Savage is looking to do so much work. But Seti says, hold up, I could find a chance here. He needs to pick and choose this wisely. Do you go for 2 elims on the low ground for a chance at first? And down goes Savage. Seti knows better, and it's a great game for Commandment and Avery.
A huge victory royale and a huge boost for the NA East champions of Chapter 3, Season 3. Commandment and Avery switched up their games after halftime, and it pays off big.
And that's why you have to love that little moment where the players get to hit the drawing board.